checking out the signals for the Baltimore Colts. Unitas gives to Amici. The Colts are the world champions. Amici scores.
It's amazing, sensational, dramatic, heart-rending, exciting, thrilling finish in the history of college football. California won the big game.
5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes! Unbelievable.
This is Phil Steele.
This is Mike Burnham.
This is Wes Durham.
This is Mike Ashley.
Hi, this is Chuck Foreman, number 44 of the Minnesota Vikings.
Woo, mercy, this is handsome Jimmy Vane, the Boogie Woogie Man.
This is Coach Fry with Virginia Tech Football, and you are listening to Big Dog Sports Talk.
Are you ready to rock? Are you ready to roll? Okay, let's do it.
You're in the doghouse with Rick Watson on Big Dog Sports Talk, presented by Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment. Join us in the Family Fencing Studios and chime in on the McClellan Chiropractic chat line. He's keeping cool with help from Little River Heating and Air, but this show is straight fire. And now, the big dog, Rick Watson.
Rick Watson's got the mic, he's the big dog king. Cover sports so sharp, it's a New River thing. Virginia Tech fire, rapid pride too. Every stat, every play, he's bringing it to you. He's got that voice, deep as a valley, breaking it down, no dilly, no dally. Big dog sports talk, feel the bark, feel the bite. Rick's in the zone, every day, every night, from the Hokies to the Highlanders. He's got a spark, Big dog sports talk, lighten up the dark. He's got the scoop, faster than a sprint, calling plays like a coach. Every word's
Hey, good morning. How's everybody doing? Episode 100. How about that? Of the show here on YouTube. Woo-hoo. Back to the daily routine as well. Back to work. Although, I had to work 4 or 5 days during the break. It's okay. It is what it is. It's that time of year. Hit us up on McClellan Chiropractic chat room. Thank you for all the 100 congratulations. And on the professional or text line, 540-391-0788. Yes, I still have to look up at the text line number. Sorry about that, but it's just the way it is. But welcome, everybody. Hope you're, I guess everybody's kind of segueing. If you didn't last week, you're segueing into back full throttle work after the holiday. Please subscribe, like, and share the channel. The push toward 1,000 is going to really kick in now. And I'm trying to beat, I'll get my report today, and pretty soon they're going to start hitting me pretty hard about 1,000. So that's what we have to do next. So please share the channel with your friends, your family, your loved ones, and tell them to please subscribe. We won't bother you too much. You know, you'll just get a notice that the show is starting. That's all. That's all. The coaches today, Phil Elmassian and Todd Grantham, he might be driving to Birmingham. He said he'd be on the road today, but he's going to join us. We won't see Todd, but we'll hear Todd. So as long as we can at least hear Todd, I hope it works out while he's driving. TLB says work. I have a vague collection of that. A recollection of that. You did, Prometheus, holder of fire. Yes. A 60-yard field goal by Carlson. Didn't cost you the number 1 pick either, so you're able to beat the Chiefs, and you still get to take Mendoza with the first pick. And you watch. You're going to, Pete Carroll's gone. So you're going to have new coach. If you make the right hire, you pair him up with the new quarterback, the Raiders will turn things around, and in 2 years, you'll be back in the playoffs. You watch. Thank you, Christopher. Thanks, everybody. Hey, Opal. Opal is the first lady of chat here on the program. Very true, CFB, or CF, what is it? CF Bupstart. Grunkenmeyer is going to be a Virginia Tech Hokie. So we've seen, I think, of the first 4 commits, somebody, let me know if you see it. I think 3 of the 4 have been Penn State guys. 1 was a kid from Louisiana, defensive back. So we'll see how Grunkenmeyer does. That's the quarterback that he's bringing out of the portal. There'll be someone else, but Grunkenmeyer, I believe, will be the guy. And we'll see. We'll see if that was the plan all along. This is where you wish you started to see cost. Some of the bigger quarterbacks that were announced over the weekend, $5 million. I mean, God almighty, what are we doing? Pay for play, man. There's no NIL anymore. We're going to have to stop. We're going to have to stop calling this NIL and just call it what it is. Pay for play. This is employment. These are free agent contracts. And some of these kids are going to make $5 to $6 million at the quarterback position. It's just not sustainable. Not sustainable. Coaches hate it, but they have to live in this world. It's mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing. Just crazy. Just crazy. So the portal games have begun. And you have 2 weeks of this craziness. And we'll see exactly how many players Franklin pulls out for Tech out of the portal. You do need a first lady of chat BDST t-shirt, Opal. Maybe I can get Brandon to make that for you up at Top Shelf. Yeah, we got to get you some kind of recognition. Same deal, by the way, with coming out of the final week, the 17th week of the season, which has caused all sorts of problems in the NFL. And everybody, of course, talking about the officiating. In particular, the games on Saturday. And then yesterday, someone had a theory that they don't believe the players are involved with a game fix, but they believe the officials are told to call a certain amount of penalties to keep games close. All I know is I was tired yesterday, and I said, oh, here you go. Here's that game that just happened to work out, right, on Sunday night, the final regular season game between the Steelers and the Ravens. And on the very first 2 plays, there were flags. One of them was a big Henry run. Derrick Henry ran for like 50 yards, flag. And I went, nah. And I just turned it off. I was just done at that point. And then the Ravens, for some reason, John Harbaugh, in bad windy conditions, decided to settle for a 44-yard field goal. I mean, you got Derrick Henry, you got Lamar Jackson. I think you could probably get 5 or 10 more yards. And he just missed that thing so badly, the rookie kicker. They probably miss Justin Tucker a lot more than they admit right now. TLB says, I feel like I need a bath every time I watch or discuss this current circus of college football. Agreed. And when I hear from Big Ten guy, he says nobody wants this. He's even at a place that doesn't have to worry about money. Everybody's disgusted. Everybody's wondering what's going to cause it to implode. $5 million contracts now for quarterbacks. Whew. What's up, Morris? Good morning. Good to see you. Yeah, the Vikings-Packers betting line. Yeah, that's being talked about a lot. The fumble at the end of the Texans game against the Colts. From the free skies of Caracas to the overcast skies of Hiawassee. Out the blue skies in Palm Coast. BDST is live and online. So, again, the league will say nothing and do nothing. But it's that crew. What game was it? I've already forgotten. It was the game on Saturday that's really being singled out. Brad, whatever his name is. His crew is the one that everybody's criticizing so much. This is how bad my memory has gotten. Oh, it was the Panthers-Buccaneers game. Panthers got really screwed over. 5 or 6 crucial calls all went against them. Everybody was talking about several of those. So, any event. Another week in the NFL heading into the playoffs. How much controversy will come out of the playoffs? But in any event, so yeah, we're starting to see some names come out for Virginia Tech. So far, 3 out of the 4 that I've seen, Penn State guys, which was to be expected. I mean, you might see upward of like 10 guys, right, that he had recruited at Penn State, which makes sense. And we're seeing every coach that's moved to a new address bring in familiar players. I don't care about what star rankings anybody has. It's all a bunch of crap. I mean, half the time when high school rankings, these stars come out, the people giving out the ratings haven't seen the kids play live. They have no idea. Same thing with this portal nonsense. All of a sudden saying he's one of our top 10 quarterbacks in the portal. Well, you know what? You know who the top quarterback is for Virginia Tech? It's Grunkenmeyer. That's all you need to know. Iowa State, Matt Campbell, he took his quarterback to Penn State, his tight end to Penn State. If they feel like those are the guys that's going to help them win, then that's the highest rated quarterback, right? I'm not going to get caught up in – it's just stupid. It's just stupid. Just like this whole system we have in place is stupid. But if that's the guy that Franklin wants to lead his first team, then that's the number one guy at his position. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense? You think they're worried about what any bozo behind a computer sitting there? Well, let's give him the number 15th ranked quarterback designation. Colton Joseph, the kid from Old Dominion, not surprised that he went to a big league, but Wisconsin. Interesting. I don't know what his money was. If anybody's seen it, let me know. He's going to the Big Ten, so I'm guessing he's making a pretty big jump. Yeah, Sirianni. Yeah, Sirianni, I don't think – it sounds crazy, Tebow, but Sirianni, doesn't it seem like that he's really hated on that team? They were showing last week. He was trying to say some things, and guys are just kind of blowing him off. Didn't somebody tell him to shut up? I don't know how long that's going to last, as crazy as it sounds, right? Because he won a Super Bowl. I don't know, man. Yeah, then you don't get the number 2 seed. I understand resting players, but there was still a lot to play for. I get that, but exactly, Prometheus. Yeah, this NIL went from being, in Filmation, I'm sure we'll talk about it some more today. It went from being correcting the whole not getting anything at all when you're raising the school a certain amount of money because of who you are to $5 to $7 million. People are asking me on the text line, the professional door text line, I don't know what Grunkenmeyer got. I'm guessing a couple million. Again, there's no rules in place. I don't know. There's no checks and balances. There's no spreadsheet that has to be shared. Some schools want it leaked because they want to be able to say, hey, this is what we're paying people. But a lot of schools will just go ahead and announcements will come and you'll, that'll be it. So, but we won't have any numbers for most of these things. So, it is what it is. It is what it is. Morrison is such a sucker. I would have done the job for $1 million, maybe less, depending on the depth of the cocktails. Morris would have signed on as quarterback for cocktails. But I think, like I said, especially when you have a coach moving to a new place like James Franklin, whoever they bring in is their number one pick. You know what I'm saying? So that's the way I look at it. People are going to go, wow, he's only the 17th ranked quarterback. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't know. I'm going to sneeze here in just a second, I think. My apologies. There it goes. There you go. Sorry. Thank you. I hear Ole Miss is frantic because some players and coaches need to leave for their new team, but now they got to play the next playoff game. Yeah, I saw that too. Like, they first announced that the offensive coaches were leaving. Thank you all. Appreciate that. I think that's the first time I've sneezed here. Hey, it took episode 100. Yeah, I know. I'm starting not to feel good, so I'm a little worried about that. Yeah. Morning, Jeff. How are you? So Ole Miss had said it was weird. After they beat Georgia, a couple of days later, they were not going to have their offensive coaches. And then Golding yesterday said, no, they're going to stay. This whole thing is just – Ole Miss is the poster child for how screwed up this whole college football thing is. Yeah, it's a mess, man. But, hey, everybody's going to be following who you get out of the portal. Everybody's going to be excited. I put up by the way, everybody who – let's see here. I got on the text line in particular, I got pushed back on. I was talking about high school recruiting. Yeah, you can get all excited about it all you want to. But this came out yesterday or Saturday. I posted it on the BDST Facebook page. Which is where most people see things that I post because I've got over 4,000 followers. I wish we had 4,000 subscribers. The percentage of starters for the four teams playing in the semifinals: Ole Miss 15 of 22, 68%. Indiana 15 of 22, 68%. Miami 12 of 22, 55%. And the Ducks at 50%. So over half of your team comes from the portal. If you're going to be good, like, for instance, anybody Virginia Tech brings in and announces over the next couple of weeks, that's going to be your team heading to 2026. That's going to be the guys that's going to try to get you 8 or 9 wins. Like Indiana announced yesterday. Did you see that? And I don't know, again, because everybody's like, oh, look at the rankings. While Cignetti tries to prepare his team for a rematch with Oregon, he's out having to bring in portal guys. And apparently, I don't know whether it's true or not, but I saw all these reports. Indiana keeps rolling. They bring in 4 of the top players on offense at their position. They signed, I think, 4 players in one day out of the portal. Indiana. So they do keep it rolling. And then I saw where Cignetti was like, look, I gotta host all these people and I gotta get my team ready. Very honest about it. So yeah. So I don't know about rankings. I don't care. I know a lot of people do. You look at whatever recruiting service, and you're going to go, oh my goodness, we didn't do very well out of the portal. If a coach decides to bring a kid in and pay him, you did just fine. Obviously, Franklin recruited Grunkenmeyer, and I've seen already people are like, well, he's just going to get a bunch of Penn State guys. Well, he'll get a lot of Penn State guys that he knows. Yes, when you're going somewhere else, you want a seamless transition. If I became the head coach of the NFL, of an NFL team, I'd want to bring guys that I knew. He'll get other players from other places. But yeah, it's going to be Penn State heavy. At least this first year, it's going to be Penn State heavy. Now he won't have that luxury next year. But this year, you can expect a lot of these guys, which makes sense, right? The same thing for Matt Campbell. It's the same thing for Sumrall in Florida. Whoever it is, they're going to bring in guys they're familiar with. You may not have to pay them as much. You may be able to negotiate. You already know their families. You already know their handlers. It's going to be just fine. Whoever they bring in. I saw somebody, they posted that, Tech got a commitment from the kid from Louisiana. And somebody said, well, he's not a power kid. Okay. Did Indiana have any power kids that transferred when he took the job? Very few. None. Franklin has a prior relationship with the kid who ended up at Louisiana. So he's bringing him to Blacksburg. It makes sense, right? So I don't know. So what I'm saying is it's just fine. Nobody's bringing somebody in that's not going to help them in their minds or in their plans win football games. These sites want you to spend money and they want to do all these things, but they don't really know. They don't know. You don't know what's going to fit. We don't know if Colton Joseph's going to fit in Wisconsin's offense as much as you might think. He's a terrific athlete. I would have liked to have seen him in Blacksburg, but hey, that's okay. I'm sure he got $3 to $4 million. All right? Be my guess. We may never know. Eric asking me on the professional door text line. I don't know what Tech's official budget is. You'd have to go 30 plus million. I think most budgets now for NIL, when you got the rev share and then the rest, it's going to be 30 million. So they're going to have a lot more announcements. And no, for the rest of you who are asking, I don't know what Grunkenmeyer got. I have no idea. I would say you're looking between 2 million, right? 2.5 million, maybe. Depends on who else may have wanted him. I'm sure they tried to create a bidding war just like in free agency. So we'll see. But they have the money to give, and they're going to spend it. Thanks to Jason Green. He's happy. He's got a big smile on his face. Not only did his Raiders beat the Chiefs, but they get the number 1 pick. Mendoza's, unfortunately, is going to look really good in that silver and black number 15. Ugh. Family Fencing, sponsor of our studios. 540-200-8294, familyfencingnrv.com. Congratulations, Jason. We've already seen people putting that uniform on him. McClellan Chiropractic Clinic, sponsor of our chat room. Thanks to Mark Hundley. Start out the new year right. Get your body feeling better. Go over there and get shaken down, cracked into, whatever it might be. The Ready, Set, Fun with Bob Chris 11. If you need some money to start the new year for a sports team, school organization, church organization, no matter what it is, Bob Chris 11 at gmail.com. They send out a series of text messages with the Ready, Set, Fun, and you can raise money very quickly. Thanks to Travis Williams. Happy New Year, Trav. Professional Door Incorporated, sponsor of our text line, 38 years in business. National Bank, member FDIC, the exclusive banking partner, BDST, here on YouTube. My exclusive banking partner for 35 years. We're presented each and every day here, even on show number 100. Let's give ourselves some flowers. Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment. Swap some messages with Tim Miller. They are so excited. Some big announcements. More announcements are coming. These guys don't sleep. Thank you so much to Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment. You're the best. Absolutely best. Correct. Tebow, 100%. That'll be the best message of the day. Tech's previous running back, who's now playing with the Jags, played at North Carolina Central. Means nothing. Exactly. Don't worry about any of that crap from people who act like they know. So somebody just said they've seen Grunkemeyer ranked from 11th to 20th. Okay, there you go. It doesn't matter what they think. All that matters is James Franklin thought enough of him to bring him in as his first quarterback. Yes, he will be the starting quarterback. Those of you who are asking. He didn't bring him in to come. He was not going to sit at Penn State and give Matt Campbell credit. He told him early on, look, I'm bringing my guy from Iowa State. So he did not come to Virginia Tech to be the backup quarterback. No, he will be your quarterback, yes. Hope he wears 17 like he did at Penn State. I think 17 is a cool-looking number for quarterback. Just a random thought. Does Rudy even exist today? Well, I hope the movie doesn't because I hated the movie. But in terms of his story, probably not. Oh, my God. Let's talk about black uniforms. Yes. Hang on. Let me take care of some business here. Thanks to Lawson's Mobile Home Supply since 1997, 300 North Franklin Street in Christiansburg, 540-381-8011. The NRV Super Bowl, they've been doing it for 25 years. Give them a call, 382-5525. The upgrades they've made are outstanding. Little River Heating and Air, Charles Lee, 540-553-2971. Get your units checked out. Coming up on the year anniversary that mine were struck by lightning. And guess who I turned to? Little River Heating and Air. The attorney, Ryan Price, 701 West Main Street in Radford. Trust and estate planning. What do you think our question should be this week? I'll leave it up to the peeps. Thanks to Harvey's GM in Radford. Thanks to Brad Harvey. Happy New Year, Brad. Everybody down there in the service department, they're the best, absolute best. And Brandon at Top Shelf Apparel up in Pulaski. And all the peeps, by the way, at the Montgomery County Chamber of Commerce. I don't know if I left anybody out or not. So, yeah, the black uniforms. Virginia Tech basketball. First of all, the Tech basketball uniform looks terrible. I'm sorry. The VT is not a good look on the basketball uni. It looks great on the football helmet. Don't ever touch it. But it looks stupid. And when you wear black and white at a place like Wake Forest, who, by the way, whose colors are black and gold, I'm not going to rule out the curse of the black uniform. No school hates their colors more than Virginia Tech Olympic Sports. And, oh, by the way, the black uniform is going to be coming to Tech football here in 2026. And then I don't know what in the holy hell the 49ers were wearing. Did they even score a touchdown? No. They have arguably, I'm not saying it is, but you can make the argument it is the best uniform in football, that cherry red with that gold. And they wore black helmet, black jersey. It just looks so bad. And what are you trying to do? Nobody's buying that. If you're a 49ers fan, you're buying that red jersey. Oh. There's no way any fan of those teams, there's no way you're watching Tech play and you're glad they're wearing those black uniforms. Good morning, Rick. Joseph says Rudy would have stayed at Holy Cross. Yeah, probably right. He wouldn't have gotten any money. That's true. Yeah, I tell you what, man. What the Bronco Chargers matchup yesterday, uniform wise, that was straight fire. Those were straight fire. Look, you're not wearing black uniforms anymore in college to tell me, hey, recruits love them. Recruits love the color green, right? That's the color they love. But yeah, those Bronco uniforms, they've sold a ton of them. It's like everybody yesterday was on X talking about the uniform matchup, the Broncos unis. Why would they go back? The Eagles, Tebow, your old Kelly Greens, when they wear those, man, that we grew up with, man, those look so nice. That green with that silver, whoo. Man, that's a good-looking uniform. I remember Wilbert Montgomery and Charlie Young and Harold Carmichael and Ron Jaworski out there. Just great uniform. But yet they wear black a lot for no reason. Thunder says, as a Clemson update, they haven't sniffed the top 10 season ranking since Fabio Lawrence left for the NFL. How important is the quarterback? Yeah, you've got to get it right. You've got to get the quarterback right. Got to get the quarterback right. That's because Strahan's a toolbox. By the way, none of these records are legitimate for sacks. The all-time single-season sack record is held by the Deacon Jones for the Rams. Quarterback sacks were not kept by official NFL standards until later. It's laughable to think that the number 23, which Myles Garrett accomplished yesterday, is the record. There were coaches that said that Deacon Jones had 40-some, if you go back and watch the film, 40-some sacks during his heyday. Multiple years. That is one of the most worthless records that you can have. But yeah, Michael Strahan's a toolbox. No Chop House. No, it was 419. We went to 419. And everybody who suggested 419, thank you. You were correct. Very nice. Good food. Good atmosphere, too. And good service. They don't sponsor the show, but thumbs up to 419 in Roanoke. Yeah, the Ole Miss quarterback didn't even get a Division I offer. Yeah, he's not bad, is he? He's got him in the national semifinal. So, yeah, you have to be talented, but friends, let's just look at this from James Franklin's perspective. All right, so you're going to a new place. You brought these kids into your old stop. You're not going to get them all, but especially quarterback. You knew why you recruited him in the first place, so you already had an idea. You didn't have to go back and research a lot of film. You didn't have to go back and know about the kid's personality or his, the type of character that he has. So if you have a chance to get him, you get him. And he'll be your starter in Blacksburg. People are still asking me, you think they're going to bring in somebody else? Yeah, they might, but this is your starter. And you want him to be your starter. I mean, he's just now kind of scratching the surface on what he wants to be. I'll be right back. Hang on. Sorry, that was a Creed interlude there. I knew that was going to happen. He went out right before the show. If Michael Vick, we've asked Dwight that question, Joseph. How much would Michael Vick? Wow. Get up on BDST by 6. Kiss beautiful Karen and make sure she is working, maybe even work myself. Beach walk and cocktail. And that's only for Monday. Wow, you're the envy of most of us, Morris. Wow, what a life. That's great. I'll be sitting at my office today at RU It's always tough that first week back, wherever anybody works, right? That first week, man. Please like and subscribe to the channel. We need to get to 1,000. I'm trying to get ahead of the curve here before I start getting inundated by my handler reminding me, which he'll start doing soon. Just doing my portions, living the dream. Well, you are. Mike would have stayed more than 2 years if they'd have paid him. Mike would have been the highest paid player in the history of college football. Creed is his handler, yeah. He hates cold weather. I know that. He comes in, he's all grumpy. He just walked in, looked at me like, this sucks. Tebow says, I like what Franklin is doing. He's bringing in younger guys in portal with talent. Yeah, guys who have more than 1 year. I mean, you can get 1 year guys, but you want to have guys that, first of all, he's very familiar with. Just like the guys that he, flipped from Penn State to come to Tech, the high school guys that he already had a relationship with. And then, guys that you hope you can develop. We're not going to do it much today, but I will say that if you're a Tech fan, how excited are you about the coaching staff? That's the one area right now where I look at it and I go, I think they're going to have talented players. We'll see if these coaches can bring it out of them. Yeah, over 4,000 players had entered the portal, and that was a few days ago. 30% of all Division I players, Al says, have entered the portal. His system's completely broken. It's unsustainable by every measure. Quarterbacks are making $5 million. And I remember when all this started, when we were sitting there in the studio, when we brought back the show during COVID, and I realized at that point, I started looking at this going, well, all these recruiting services, we were right there at the forefront of this again. I said, they're going to have to start changing their whole MO. High school, nobody's going to care anymore. You're going to start ranking out of the portal. And now this is what they're doing, right? It's portal rankings. Every site now has their separate. And I was thinking, this is what it's going to be. But guys are going to jump from here and there with the NIL. And this is going to become a feeding frenzy for money, right? At some point. And here we are. Here we are. Going back to work on Monday is like Kramer going back after being on strike. Hey, I'm here. I'm here. I'm here. Wayne says, I like the players he is getting, just hoping he can recruit for Blacksburg. So far it is being Franklin NIL. Can he attract them here based on Virginia Tech football? I think that's the burden that all these schools are trying to figure out. If I heard anything about Lamar Morgan from Michigan joining Franklin's staff, I don't know. I'll ask that question. Big Ten guy. I haven't talked to him in a little while. Big Ten guy. Big Ten guy's school just got eliminated from the playoff, so I'm leaving him alone for a little while. Yes, Alan, correct. Colton Joseph is Wisconsin's new quarterback. I'm guessing $3 to $4 million. The solution, TLB, I don't know. The solution is so far has been everybody's just turned their head and looked the other way. I have not heard that that's official from JC staying. I did not hear that. I know they've been trying to. You know what? Who will know that? Todd Grantham is very close to JC Price. But I had not heard that he was going to stay. They were trying to figure something out because he really wanted to remain on staff, and that didn't happen. I had not heard that he is staying, though. Is that official? I haven't seen that announcement. If that's official, that's good. Good for him. That way he doesn't have to move his family. JC's had some health issues, and I know moving wasn't ideal right now. So we'll see. Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. I don't know if they've upgraded at most coaching spots or not. I saw that go through. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see with the staff, how the staff comes together. But we'll ask Todd about that. I don't know if Todd's driving to Birmingham or not. I hope his segment works. He's be on the road. I should be able to hear him. As long as he can get a signal out of there, we should be okay. We'll see. If it doesn't work, we'll have to reschedule with him. But we know we'll have Coach Elmassian. We know that's happening. I don't know what VT Scoop is, but they're saying it was on some they're saying it was on some site. Okay, well, good. But again, was it on? Did Tech Sideline report it? I know they don't have any access right now. But did like Andy put that out there or anything? I'd feel better about it if Andy had put that out there. But we'll ask Todd. Todd will know. I think Todd talks to JC about every day. So, yeah, we'll ask him the question. But I would think that would have been a bigger hoodoo. Yeah, I'm heard he's going to stay on. I just don't know what it's going to be. That he wanted to stay on in some capacity. But I know he's not happy at all about not staying on the staff. I think this is more of a let's get healthy for a year, and then he might be down out the door next year. There you go, Wayne doing some sneaky. No, nothing listed on his X account. Well, we'll find out here if it works in about an hour. We'll find out from Todd, and we'll see what that means. Analysts and all these things. JC's a really good defensive line coach. I tell you what, there's no way you're going to convince me. I mean, the guy at Texas A&M they're bringing in was asked to leave. You're not going to convince me he's a better defensive line coach than J.C. Price. J.C. Price is a good coach. Opal says, I don't want to sound ignorant, but is a no-name defensive player making squat really going to protect the cocky quarterback? Yeah, that came up. We talked about that a lot, Opal, back on the radio show. I mean, it's got to upset some guys because you have the same money tiers that you do in the NFL. Right? So, it causes some dissension. It has to. That's why coaches have to make sure they balance that in the locker room. Because you're going to have dudes that are like that are going to making $4 or $5 million, and yeah, you're the offensive lineman. If you're the guard, I don't know what guards are getting, but they're not making millions. It's got to cause some dissension. I know it causes dissension with the student body in those players nowadays. I know that for a fact. I work at a school. Student body gets very angry. They understand what's going on with the money that's being thrown around. It's hard to have everybody on board when certain people are making that kind of money. Have they earned it? I don't know. They're being offered it. But yeah, Yeah. It has got to cause dissension. It does. It's got to. But you see, the fans are never going to go away. And they know that. Everything stays the same. The NFL is a terrible product. It has a major problem with its officiating. The perception that its games may not be real. They don't care. Did you see that on Christmas Day, they put games on Netflix, which were horrible productions? They didn't even have a game on Christmas Day on a network. They had 2 on Netflix, 1 on Prime, and they beat the NBA by like 4 times the ratings. And that's the NBA's big Christmas Day, right? College football playoffs are up 13%. Now, I don't know how much of that. Somebody brought up a great point. I was looking at one of the threads. How much of that is chalked up to gamblers who are watching? I mean, if you turn the games on in the casino and leave them on all over the country, then your ratings go up. How much of it is for that? The ratings in the bowls are up, but nobody cares about these bowls. You're watching those bowls because of gambling. If you don't have a school that you pull for, that you support in those bowl games, you're not watching them. You're just not, unless you got money on them. Big Al says, BT on third coach since Beamer. As a coach who both wins and communicates with the fan base and local media, just impossible in this new era. Well, not impossible, but it has been James Franklin's choice to not do that. Why is not surprising when you hear some things about him, but yeah, he gives everything to Matt Zenith, the national guy. He has completely shut down local media. They're hoping once they get to know him, it can know them, that they're going to open up. I know Andy Bitter is very frustrated. All he can do is retweet things that everybody else is. It's bizarre. It's bizarre. Prometheus says he's hoping for an Indiana-Miami matchup. Yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be fun. Me too. Me too. Yeah, only in basketball. Yeah, Mike Young reached out to me. Hey, you got time for me to come on the new show? Sure, coach. Absolutely. No, well, those of you who are asking on the text line, our professional door text line, I'll keep asking the question, but I have zero confidence of any way, shape, or form that Franklin will ever be on this show. No, nah. And he controls what his coaches do as well. So I don't know how that's going to look. I'll keep trying. I know you guys would love to hear from him. I'll keep trying, but no, there's no expectation here that's going to work out. Hopefully I'm wrong. We've always had access to every other tech coach, except for Justin Fuente, who didn't have access to anybody. But I'll keep trying. You get told no one week, check back a few weeks later, things could change. You just don't know. Correct, Morris. Alex Mortensen, Todd's new boss at UAB, is the late, great Chris Mortensen's son. Maybe the last great, credible reporter from ESPN. And Todd has a lot of respect for Alex Mortensen, who might be a rising star in this business. We'll talk to him about that. Thank you, Opal. I appreciate that. We'll talk about that with Todd and why he chose UAB. See, Todd's at his final stop. Todd has been all over the NFL. He's been all over every aspect of it. Yes, we talked about Grunkemeyer, Wayne, right off the bat. Yeah. Yep. That happened overnight. So Todd wanted to go somewhere where he could be happy with a guy that he really likes, wants to play, coach with, and completely build that defense. So it was Todd's choice. He could have gone to a power school. He could have gone back to the league. He didn't want to. Oh, it did come from Zenith? Okay. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Of course it did. Of course it did. Everything's being leaked to Matt Zenith from James Franklin. I don't know why you can't call Andy Bitter and say, hey, even as bad as Fuente was with the media, at least he didn't shut down the beat writers or take sideline. TLP says his son-in-law has a friend on the team at Tech. He says his friend told him he got a chunk of money even though no chance of ever starting. Yeah, we're hoping, Prometheus. I'm going to keep trying. I'm not just going to be told no and just go away. Yeah, I'll keep trying. And I'll ask a question at some point. Why? Why would he not jump on here for 10 minutes? I mean, I'm not going to put him on the spot. People would like to meet him. You would think that would help. What's up, Swish? No, I would say with the Grunkenmeyer announcement that they're not going to worry about the kid from Missouri. No, you're not going to bring in 2 starters or pay 2 starters. Grunkenmeyer will be the starter. Unless we hear for some strange reason he decided to leave Penn State, a place that he said he loved because he wants to start. That's why he wanted to leave. Well, and then come to Tech and be a backup for a year. I wouldn't think so. So, yeah. Yeah. Let me invite Coach Elmo. So, yeah, we'll keep trying with Franklin. We'll keep asking the question. But right now, he's not doing anything. Maybe once everything's done with the portal, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to wait now through January, get all this crap done with the roster and with staff announcements, and maybe he'll change what's going on. No, I'll disagree with that, Tebow. I think Mike Young's a very media savvy guy. He's always come on this show. He's always done interviews. I've never known him to say no. He gets a little gruff after losses, like most coaches. Yeah. But he does, even guys like Mark Berman, I mean, he will call them by name and he will address them. And as Wayne says, and to be honest, his post-game pressers, if they are short and sweet, that means he says what he needs to say, and he's not just up there. It's not just about him. Yeah, Landon ends up in Blacksburg. I think it'll be as a safety. Yeah. I think he's a better defensive player than he was quarterback, and he was a good quarterback at Elon. Yeah. So we'll see. But no, somebody asked about, I haven't heard about any local high school kids going to Tech. No, I have not heard. We have a lot of talent around here. We do. But I have not heard. I think their money is going to be spent in other places under Franklin. Yeah. He is one of the last old school coaches. Tech was underhanded. Tech was underhanded in their approach. Tech was shorthanded again against Wake, but they could have won that game. God-awful uniforms aside, they could have won that game. There you go. Sorensen was a great safety converted from QB. Landon Clark is an incredible athlete, incredible football player with great instincts. I don't know. Now, he's been a quarterback. He knows he won't be the guy coming to Blacksburg at that position. Would he come back to play a different position, or is he going to try to go somewhere and be quarterback? I don't know. We always talk about this being up to the individual. We can't put forth our own desires in somebody else's mindset and what they're looking for. Like these coaches that went to different places, these players that are going to places, it's all up to them. So we'll see. Yeah, I get it. It was a letdown. But winning road games in conference play is the hardest thing to do in college sports. Doesn't matter the sport, football, basketball in particular. It is so hard to win conference road games. The former Radford coach Mike Jones called them gold bricks. You put them in the back of your red flyer wagon, radio flyer wagon. You carry that wagon with you during conference schedule. It was the uniform swish, no doubt. Correct. Wear orange or maroon. You know, that's your school colors. And change that hideous large VT. It looks great on the helmet. But let's have the old school. Remember those shots that Mike Ashley showed us on Friday? How about Virginia, the number in the middle, Tech underneath? Doesn't that look great? In maroon and orange and white? No, we're just going to wear gray and black uniforms, white, and don't get me started. And the 49ers, it followed them too. The black uniform curse. Black for the sake of black is all you're there's no longer, you're not wearing them any longer for recruiting. It's all about green for the recruits and these transfers. Nobody's running out and buying that black Virginia Tech football basketball jersey. I'm still waiting on somebody to show me the first black hat, black pullover, whatever they bought. But how about just wearing your school colors? Wouldn't that be great? Again, nobody hates their school colors more than Tech Olympic Sports. And it's coming to football in 2026. Has there been an announcement? No. But just trust me. It's going to happen. Correct, Wayne. Yes. Is that a Bobby Beecher uniform you just sent me? Yes. That's the one right there. That's the one. Waddell Curry's uniform. Virginia on top, the number in the middle, Tech at the bottom. Or, yeah, Tebow, those were great too. Those were the Bimbo Coles unis, right? Hokies, the cursive script. It was kind of leaning. Yes. Yes. But that big old VT, you can't tell me you like that, Tech fan. That does not transfer to basketball. That works on one thing, and that works on the football helmet. It doesn't work on unis. It works on the helmet. It doesn't work on a batting helmet. It works for baseball, softball. But no, it doesn't work on a uniform. The uniform police has spoken. Joining us now on the program is that gentleman there. He is the police of all common sense things regarding college sports. What's up, Coach? How are you?
I don't know about the common sense, Rick.
Where are you now? You're traveling again. Where are you now?
No, I'm in my.
Are you home?
Yeah.
Okay. By the way, you were right about 419. It was good.
Oh, good. Yeah. I've always, but I always go over there if I'm in town. I do the radio show. When it's over, I always go over there. Their pizzas are really good. So I always go over there after the radio show.
No, okay.
When I'm in town. Yeah, it's a good place. Good people.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Well, here we are in the semifinals. These matchups. How do you look at rematches like that? Indiana and Oregon, of course, is a rematch. We just had Georgia and Mississippi. They were a rematch in the quarterfinals. How do you look at rematches in the playoffs? Is there an advantage? Anything like that?
Well, I've never experienced it, so I don't know if I've got any credibility to talk about it, but I'd love to, visit people that have done it because, sometimes the familiarity could be a negative for you to a point, decisions that you're making. But then again, as far as it's like the unknowns, and that's what you're coaching for, the unknowns. And I know when I went into bowls, when you had time to do this, and this is so different. In bowls, I usually was able to, from a secondary standpoint, not necessarily that I was the coordinator, but we were always going to do something that they were not going to be prepared for, that they had never seen.
Right.
And you have time to do that. But in these playoffs, you do not have the time to do that. So what you're going to see, I think the consistency is no change. Now, you may have a wrinkle or two. You look at the Colts yesterday on that 4th down fake punt. Had they ever shown that or not? I think in the kicking game, your fakes, things of that nature. But I call them key breaker type plays that you've never seen before. And so I'm sure they'll have some wrinkles. Certain teams will have certain wrinkles that they'll end up doing. But for the most part, I would think, the team, you are who you are at this point in time, and you're gonna see a lot of familiarity on both sides of the ball. So it comes back down to who's got the better checkers. Who's making the least. Who's making the least amount of mistakes, who's making the most disruptive plays, who's winning the battles of the third downs, things of that nature that I've always talked about that's going to end up winning a war. And so that's the one thing that'll be consistent with the playoffs as opposed to bowl games. Bowl games, they got time to do. I mean, when I was at Nebraska, we were playing Auburn in the Cotton Bowl. Well, we played Oklahoma in the championship game on the Big 12 North. They had the old North and South. So we played Oklahoma. We were champions of the North. Oklahoma was the South. So we played Oklahoma in the championship game. Venables was the defensive coordinator. And our quarterback was Zach Taylor, head coach of the Bengals now. Brilliant quarterback. Could run the West Coast offense. And he was the Big 12 player of the year. And he had a bad game. And I mean, I've never seen him where he was mentally, it was a mess. And so when we're practicing for the bowl during the stretch lines, I went up to him, we had a good relationship. And I said, Zach, what happened? He goes, Phil, I couldn't set the protection straight. And I said, okay. So I went back and watched their third downs, particularly in what they were doing. And they were doing things that at that time, this is 25 years ago. About 20 years ago that a lot of people weren't doing. They were pressuring 4 from the side, either 4 from the field, 4 players from the boundary, and actually playing a cover 2 behind it. It was zone pressure, cover 2, rolled up corners. And he just had a hard time setting the protections. So we put it in for the bowl game in the Cotton Bowl. And let me tell you, Auburn had no clue. They had no clue. We ended up losing to them, I think 14-12 or whatever it was. But offense. So those are the things you'd like to do, but during the playoffs, you don't have the time to do it. So, you start looking at Indiana. Of all of the 4 teams, the 2 dominant teams in terms of what I consider the what's going to determine outcomes of games are Indiana and Miami, and they're very similar. Totally similar in terms of they're establishing the run, stopping the run. Their lines of scrimmages are really dominant. In all 14 games that they have played. I looked at the statistics in all 14 games, and Indiana's averaging 41 rushing attempts a game. And like I said, once you're into those 40s, man, you're very rarely losing that game. You're in control of the game, and the other facets are working too. A lot of times when teams have statistics that are either nationally ranked or after a game, it's like, well, it doesn't surprise me they won. That's a total team effort. Your offense, defense are complementary each other, and you're hitting on all three cylinders: offense, defense, and kicking game. And Indiana and Miami are the two most dominant teams of all the four teams left. And Oregon's not far behind. Ole Miss they have some really, like they've had over 1,000 offensive plays in the 14 games. And that's, their fast tempo offense and style of let's get numbers of snaps. And the more snaps you have, the more points we can produce. And consequently, defensively, they have defended the most number of snaps because obviously their defense is on the field a lot too because their offense is going fast. So that's a good news, bad news. But of all the teams, Indiana and Miami are the most dominant of the two, and I think that's what it'll come down to, and that will be one heck of a game.
Yeah, it would be. It would be. Well, somebody was asking in chat, and I have a question too. If you were on a staff today and you have a quarterback who's going to be making $5-6 million, and you have other guys who are, how do you keep that team together at the collegiate level? Because we talk about the immaturity of these guys that are that young making that kind of money. You're going to have guys that are there in the trenches that are working probably a lot harder than the quarterbacks, not getting anything close to that. How would you go about trying to make sure that you don't have that fractured click base in the locker room?
Well, there's an old saying goes, Rick, you have no problems winning can't solve. Like you have no problems money can't solve. It goes hand in hand. I think today, looking at it, like in the NFL, there's going to be discrepancies in salaries, but I'm not so sure the kids really give a crap.
You think they just kind of look at it? Yeah.
It's business. It's business. Not, like in the NFL, what do you ever hear in the NFL when a guy holds out? No one's mad at him. It's business. I think that right now that would filter down into college. I don't think the player. I know myself, if I was sitting in the locker room and I'm getting, 50,000 or 100,000, the quarterback's getting, $1.5 million. Now, if he's screwing up, throwing 3 picks a game, we're going to. There you go. Yeah. As a player, I'm going to have a conversation with this SOB before it's over with. As a player, we're going to talk. If you're turning it over and playing for the opponent, 2 quarters out of the 4. Before the coaches have a talk, we're having a talk as a, from a player's perspective. So, but if you're, if you're Mendoza or it's all four playoff teams have portal quarterbacks, all 4.
Yeah.
So, what's the moral of that story? You better pick the right pitcher.
You better get the right guy. Right.
You better get the right pitcher because they're all in the playoffs and the story and they're all great stories. They are. But like I said, what about the other 95% of the portal kids that could be disasters? That's a very low percentage that you have this success story. There's the success stories are maybe 1 out of every 5, maybe in the portal.
Yeah.
Without, there's 4,000 kids in the portal this time. It's
like 5,000 in the day. Yeah.
I don't know the numbers of players where they get the stats. If they're, I guess it's all the divisions, but I heard it's like 1 out of every 3 college players are in the portal. 1 of 3. Which is kind of crazy. But you were talking about the quarterback development, picking the quarterback. I've always said you better pick the first guy you got to pick is the right quarterback coach, because you're the guy that's going to be evaluating, and evaluating in that position is, there's a handful of guys that can do it. let's put it this way. The people at Florida State, whoever that evaluator is, and their quarterbacks have failed miserably.
Mm-hmm.
No,
and Brent Pry was not good at it. When he was the head coach, Brent Pry was not good at it either.
Well, you took a kid out of Baylor that only had 2 starts.
Yeah.
How are you going to?
Never made sense.
And never tried to replace him. That's my biggest issue with it. Not so much that they made the mistake. They never went out and got somebody. Is that because he was making, I don't know, I've heard the figure of $1 million. I don't know if that's right.
That's why.
How accurate that is, but was he making that much money that he was holding the program hostage?
I think so.
I would hope not. That's a good, and good news, bad news is, the good news is you got the kid's making 1.2, but the bad news is he's playing 2 quarters. That's all I've always called him a 2-quarter quarterback. I'd have found somebody, I'd have brought him in and say, look, you keep your money. I'm bringing someone in and you're going to defense.
Moving around, yeah.
Oh, hell yeah. Tight end or linebacker. He's an athlete. He's a tough kid. Now, I don't know about his character. I don't know about his work ethic. I have no idea. Noah is spelled K-N-O-W. I don't know. But if he had any kind of work ethic and toughness to him, I'll say, look, you keep your money. Okay, you keep your NIL money. You go into defense, and you have a better chance of getting in the NFL than you would a quarterback.
Yeah, that's right.
Quarterback in the NFL. He couldn't play for Virginia Tech. How's he going to play in the NFL?
Yeah, there's no shot. Yeah, never had a shot. Yeah.
No. So, but you got to have a coach that can evaluate that position and know, and the mistakes are going to be made, but I think there's certain, like I've always said, there's certain liabilities you can, if you understand the liability and you can, everyone's got a strength and everyone's got a weakness. That just, as the levels go up and as the great players, productivity, your worth as a coach is getting a kid to play to his strength, minimizes liabilities. Sometimes a position can do that. You can't hide lack of talent, but if you've got enough talent, position changes can maximize strengths, minimize the liabilities. And schemes get to do that too. But after a while, that's going to carry you but so far. You better have talent. You better have enough talent to produce in the position you're playing. In that position, that quarterback coach or that talent evaluator from high school to college to NFL, that's a guy that's your make or break guy on your staff. The NC State. NC State for 2 years had got the kid Armstrong, kid from Virginia. Mm-hmm. I said that. I told Greg on the radio show that ain't never going to work. He had such a disastrous year. It was so bad. He went from the ACC's top offensive weapon to when Tony Elliott takes a job. And to me, I don't think this is any fault except whatever happened. It was the Titanic, man. It just
and crashed. You saw that coming. You didn't think that was going to work.
Oh yeah, because I told Greg, I said it on the radio show. I said this year is so poor for him. This one's going to be extremely difficult to overcome. He's going to carry this year into the next. And he was a disaster at NC State. Then they get the kid from Coastal, who was a Jamie Chadwell offensive type quarterback and had great success. Well, then he gets to NC State and he's a disaster. So those are the 2 schools that I know that I look at their records and look at their and the quarterbacks and a couple of, they got beat out and they invested a lot of money into them. So I don't know if their quarterback coach or who's ever evaluating the kid still has a job. But if he was working for me, he wouldn't. Boren's lucky he's kept his job. The guy at NC State's lucky he's kept his job. And whenever I hear at Florida State what they're looking quarterback in the portal, I don't get too excited because I don't know who they're looking at. Their track record is horrendous.
Pretty bad under Norvell, isn't it? Yeah,
horrendous.
Yeah. What did you get a chance to check out any of Grunkmeyer, the kid who just committed to Franklin? You know, he came from Penn State. He played well against Clemson. No. Did you get a chance to watch him at all?
No, I have not. No, you know what I did though? The freshman they signed out of California, I evaluated him.
To Penn State?
Yes. Yeah. For Virginia Tech that they signed out
of
California.
Yeah. Okay.
My question has been, and I don't know, I should make calls, you know, is he a January kid? Because if you're going to sign a quarterback today, you know, as a freshman or high school kid, he's got to come in January. Offensive linemen have to come in January, or they're redshirting. Yeah, unless they're just absolute supermen. So if he's a January kid, they can talk about this other kid from Penn State all they want. I think they got a heck of a quarterback in this kid. Well, I went down and did a pretty deep evaluation of him. It's highlight tapes. But here's the only good news. He didn't have a bad highlight tape, and I've seen some kid with bad highlight tapes, you know. But he was, you know, he's a big kid. He's 6'4", 215. He's not a spread guy. He's what I call a West Coast. There's two kinds of quarterback. I separate them into West Coast and spread guys. The West Coast guys are the Bradys, the Breezes, you know, the Mendozas. Those are the guys. And could they be spread guys? Yeah. Mendoza could have been a wishbone. Drew Brees would have been a great wishbone quarterback. Great wishbone quarterback because of his decision making and the competitiveness with which he played. He could have been as good as there was. You know, for years, Bear Bryant's wishbone quarterbacks like Richard Todd played in the NFL. You know,
well, that's right. That's right.
Those are hard to find. You know, you got a wishbone quarterback that's an NFL quarterback. Well, Brees could have been one. And this kid, this freshman that they signed, he's a West Coast quarterback. There's so many good quarterbacks in California. Look at all of them coming out of that state. It's amazing how the production of quarterbacks and the development of quarterbacks. But he's a good one. I think that kid, I don't know about the kid from Penn State, but if that kid comes in January, you don't forget, competition is the best aid you have as a coach. It's your best friend as a coach. If you become the competition at coach to player and you become the competition, doesn't work. There's friction between you and the player. The competition's got to come within the position. And that makes everybody better. Your coach gets better and the players get better. So the good news is I don't know if they hand this job over to this guy. If this guy comes in January, I think he's got a chance.
Without really any rules in place, Coach, you see guys jumping 3 or 4 schools. How much of this is solely about guys, and it's just your opinion, obviously, because we don't know, but I mean, how much of this is just guys jumping at the next financial opportunity as opposed to going to a place they want to play and a coach they want to play for? Because even if coaches aren't changing, you're seeing guys go year to year right now.
If you take the NIL away, how many guys are going to go in the portal? How many would? Ask 10 portal guys, okay, you're not going to have any NIL money. You leaving? No, some guys would if they're going from lower levels to upper levels. If I got a chance at Western Carolina to go play for Georgia, I'm going.
Sure.
I don't care about the NIL money. I'm going. But if I'm at Ohio State, am I going to Georgia? And why? You know, well, money would be if there's only one reason, the money.
Money's the only reason.
Why am I leaving Ohio State? Well, I want to win a national championship. Well, you're already there. Why go to Georgia? You already have that chance to do it at Ohio. So, like I've always said to me, I'm just curious to see how many starters on the Power 4 teams that have playoff opportunities And there's only 10, 15 of them. And it's going to be like that till I die. And when I die, it's going to be next 100 years. You're going to see the same cats. Now, the Indianas and all those people, that's really put the curveball into all of this. Indiana, he has really screwed up college football. He's killing them. He is, and you know what? He's got no humility about it, and he knows what he's doing. He is just screwing everybody.
He does.
He brings in 13 JMU players with no stars. The Carpenter kid was a walk-on at JMU. And how Virginia Tech missed him is beyond me. Let me tell you what, if I was at Virginia Tech, that kid would not have been missed, and that's a fact.
No.
Because I watched that kid in high school, and I went, how in the hell did they miss that kid? When I went back and watched his high school tape. But
I think you're right on it because, I mean, at our level, even at Radford, and we have good young people in our men's basketball program, but they all came because of new NIL opportunity that presented itself. You talk to them, they're openly talk about it. I mean,
no doubt.
And there's nothing wrong with that. They're very honest about it. And that's my perception as well. And what I've been told from other people, these guys aren't moving because of coaches. These guys are moving because of what they're going to get. And I keep trying to tell people that, but they don't want to believe it.
No. But, that's the one thing about when you're looking at the port. I know when I don't want to say the university, but this one university that's asked me to look at portal kids for them, evaluate them. And I have evaluated them as if I was on the staff and did a very in-depth evaluation, as I always have, grading every facet of their play and position and the physical talents. And there was one kid I was looking at from a Power 4 school, a Power 4 school in the Big 12. And I looked at him, I'm going, I don't see it. And the GM that I was talking to of the school says, well, he's going to get a lot of money. He's a Power 4 guy. The Power 4 guys command more money than the Power 5 and than a Sun Belt guy as opposed to a Big 12 or an SEC guy. So that's in consideration with a lot of these schools. Why take a Power 4 guy when you can get – because the real good ones aren't leaving. The great ones aren't. I don't think the receiver from Ohio State's going to leave. The quarterback from Michigan. How much more money do you have to spend?
Well, they're showing guys now signing contracts, Coach, to stay with their school. And if it was about the school, they wouldn't do that, right? They're just saying, hey, I'm coming back for a year. Here's my new deal. Right?
Yeah, no question. So, the thing was sad about the NIL, and I heard you make the statement in the beginning. Remember, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but this all started years ago. I know Ed O'Bannon from UCLA was the one that first sued the NCAA, but I remember in the video, it all started with, remember, the NCAA has that logo, right? NCAA, it's a patented logo. And when you see that logo, that means this is NCAA sanctioned. Money is going to the NCAA because it's their product, correct?
Yes.
How many bowl games have you seen, or the championship game where you've seen that NCAA logo? Not around.
Zero.
It's not on the field like it is on the basketball courts. Look at the NCAA logos when they have the March Madness. It shows up on the TV. The NCAA, it's an NCAA sanctioned sponsored event.
Right.
It's a sanctioned event. So guess who's getting the money? Guess who's getting NCAA?
Yeah.
Through the television contracts through the NCAA. Well, the contracts in football, college football, are through the what? The conferences. ESPN, SEC, Fox, Big Ten, so forth and so forth. And so when they came out with the video games, And that was NCAA sanctioned. You saw the NCAA logo on the cover of the video game. And these players are going, that's me. That's my number. That's me. That's my image. That's where the image comes in. They may not have the name on the back of the jersey. I've never seen an NCAA video, but the image was Michael Vick. Hey, you're making money off of my image, right?
Yeah. No. Okay. Peyton Manning's the first time I was aware of it in college.
Yeah. Then the jersey sales.
The jersey sales. Yeah, over 1 million jerseys sold, and he didn't get
the name is on it. So it's name, image, and now they throw likeness in there, which is a whole rabbit hole.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Likeness, like what? Okay. I get the name that I get. The image, I get that. But likeness? I don't understand it.
It's all pay for play now. It has nothing to do with NIL. It's all pay for play.
But here's the problem. I have no problems with NIL as, okay, you get to college and you're a fourth stringer. Ain't nobody going to want your damn jersey. And the hell, you ain't going on a video game. But if all of a sudden you become Michael Vick and you're on the video and your jersey's getting sold, I want a piece of that pie. I have no problems with that.
Yeah. No, I get it. And I feel the same. Yeah, I'm with that. I completely understand. Yes.
But now these kids, it's just open, flat out. Hey, high school kids, they're signing to play.
That's it. That's all they're doing. Yeah, high school kid. Yeah, absolutely.
What name and image and likeness? They haven't even been to college yet, and they're getting the money to go to college beyond the scholarship. So it is pay to play. They can take that NIL and now it's legal. That's what it stands for.
Correct. Yeah, we need to stop using that term. Yeah, NIL just needs to go away.
It's just a big hypocrisy. And like I've always said this, like a dollar for each time I said it. When's the last time you heard of any kid being academically ineligible?
I know. You're exactly right. You don't hear
it. The news around bowl practices 25 years ago was who got tested for drugs, who got caught, who got busted because you had to pee in the cup for the bowls. And those drug tests now, they don't whether they test or not, it's a joke. It's a joke. So that's, it's college football. It's a, like I said, it is not, and everybody says, and you hear all the coaches, it's unsustainable. Well, right now, it's sustainable. Right now, it is. Today, it's very sustainable. It's working. It's working. Now, a year from now, 2 years, who knows? But right now, it's working. Viewership's up. Attendance, now the bowl attendance was pitiful. But who cares? It's already paid for.
And the TV viewings were up even for those bowls that nobody cared about. I think gambling has a lot to do with it. Don't you believe? I believe that.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
Right? I mean, that's why people are watching. You're not watching because you care about, App State playing Georgia Southern, but you may have money on the game. So
it's a factor, And here's the other thing, too, people understand. The portal, the evaluations of high school kids and high school film, it's really hard. Sometimes, especially defensive backs, they're not even on the film half the time. And watching a game it's a strain. Sometimes watching a game, the video is so poor. Hey, I remember when I got into coaching, when I was at the University of Richmond, went up to a school in New Jersey called the Petty School, and they were filming with a handheld 8mm camera, ground level. And guess who I was looking at? Franco's younger brother, Giuseppe Harris. I liked him. I thought he's a good, even from that 8mm handheld, I go, this kid can play. And then Jopa ended up taking him at Penn State, which obviously he would. And he ended up starting for him as a freshman as safety. But no, it's craziness, absolutely crazy. And like I said, Coach Cignetti right now is just killing everybody. It's just killing everybody. You think about it. Every president, athletic director, and head football coach, they're having all the conversation. What's he doing?
And then they signed 4 top portal kids yesterday. They very strategically announced it all at once. 4 guys who were ranked at the top of their position, by whatever recruiting service and all that crap. But they got 4 of them in one day. And so it's almost like they're throwing it at you now. Hey, we're now a machine. We're not just here for 2 or 3 years. We're going to keep this thing going.
You know what would happen, Rick, when college programs had a hard time sustaining, especially even when I was at Wisconsin? We go to 2 Rose Bowls, and we recruited California heavy, trying to get skilled kids. I would go out there with the running back coach who recruited the area and spend 3 days then looking for, evaluating defensive backs. And the problem was all of a sudden we're getting these I don't even want to, stars are a waste for me. Like I said, those 247 guys, they don't know if there's air.
But people will continue to use that as their metric, man.
Listen,
great.
Like I told you, I'm in Nebraska. You got a 3-star. I offer you will automatically go to a 4-star, and your talent has not changed.
No, you haven't done anything, and your star system's going to go up by 1.5 because
I used to call it just for shits and giggles. I'm going to offer the kid, and he goes to a 4-star. But what he's doing there in Indiana is just beyond me. How he's doing it and this consistency with he's doing it under these circumstances. They've taken advantage of the portal and the NIL and used it very wisely.
They have
evaluated very well, because a lot of teams like UCLA and Florida State and those bottom feeders and the Clemsons, and they have not. You look at the bus. You look at Clemson was 8th in the country. Penn State was 2 in the country. I mean, you look at the preseason top 10. It's like, someone did not do a good job evaluating.
Well, Clemson's I'm glad you brought them up, because I've been meaning to ask you about that. So Dabo was the last, national championship major coach he kept fighting off NIL as long as he could, right? He was very even as recent as 2 years ago said, we're not going to do that. Well, you look how much they have fallen off, right? They're just now getting into the portal. He had no choice. The boosters and the people that could really have him removed said, no, you're going to catch up to the modern way of doing it. But they're not evaluating. They haven't caught up to it yet because they don't believe in it. And look what's happened to Clemson's program, right? That's not, in my opinion, a coincidence.
No, there's obviously, if there are 5 reasons why their program has diminished, that's one of 5. Is it number 1? Who knows? That's your opinion or whatever. Yeah. We can all, like buttholes, we all have one, so let's have an opinion. But I will say 2 words: Brent Venables. When Clemson was a regional school with an 8 and 9 games a year with no big time national implications. Okay. When Brent Venable gets there, everything changed. And they had the Watson kid and Trevor Lawrence back to back, who won national championships for him. But I think Brent Venables had a major impact on their program. I may be speaking out of turn. This is my opinion.
No, I think you're right.
Because when he got there, all of a sudden, recruiting changed. The way they played defense changed. Big time.
They lost both coordinators the same year, didn't they? Lost Elliott and Venables.
Yeah. National championship caliber defense.
Yeah.
That overcame Dabo. and when he left, I've always said this: the quarterback coach, whoever's coaching your quarterbacks, will have an impact on the quarterback and your offense. Whoever you hire as a deep coordinator will impact your program, and I believe it. I can name people, from the day that Buddy Ryan impacted the Bears and how he impacted that. He impacted a football team.
No, there's no question. No question.
Okay? Period. And so the defensive coordinators can impact a team way more so than the OC or the quarterback coach. And they have great impacts into the program. And I don't have the time, but I sure as heck could go down each one of them.
No,
there's not a head coach that I know would not tell you that.
I think it's huge. And that brings us back to Virginia Tech, right? You bring in a guy that's never been an offensive coordinator. You're bringing back a guy as your defensive coordinator who failed as your head coach, who ran your program into the ground. So how much can they be counted on to help, like you're just saying?
Well, right now, the good news is the head coach, like I said, the best thing about Tony Elliott can be said is the confidence he has in his staff because he had not fired anybody. And like I told you, you look at their defense and you look at that last bowl game, that just put the icing on the cake because defensively they got this. Nobody improved on defense as much as Virginia did in the country with the talent they have. They are not as talented as Clemson. They are not as talented as any of these last Indiana or anybody that they're playing. But let me tell you how they played the game. I envy him. I admire him and envy him. And that defensive coordinator, they better give him a raise. Because let me tell you what, if I was a head football coach, I'm hiring that guy. I don't care where I'm at. I'll guarantee you, Coach Saban will watch those defenses. He'll see this is great coaching they did. They did great coaching. And so my point being is, Coach Franklin's got so much confidence in Coach Pry, that'll trickle down to the players. Okay, and it will. All right. And because that's what happened in Virginia. I really believe it. I've got good coaches. And that's the message sent to the locker room. And I believe in the coaches. And so I think with Coach Pry, it should work. It should work. Should work.
Do you see a big drop off for UVA? A lot of people are looking at, hey, that was built out of the portal.
Not really.
Yeah.
Not really. I don't. Could it drop off? Yeah, sure it could because it's like, could it be Indiana except not on the national scale? Maybe an Indiana of the ACC. Right now there's a confidence in the program. There's a confidence in their decision making. There's a confidence in their evaluation. Winning breeds confidence. Confidence breeds winning. That's the chicken and the egg. Which comes first? Can't have one without the other. And now you have this. Now you got to sustain the evaluating process to your program. Okay, some problem's going to be now you're going to get people that are interested in your program that maybe a year or two ago you didn't get because you weren't winning. And now, and all of a sudden, those kids when it's all they don't start, they don't come, they don't pull the trigger, they don't make the commitment, but they're interested in you because of who you are now. But when I was at Virginia Tech, that when we ended up winning the 9 games, 2 wins to 9, 93, the 94 recruiting season, we got a commitment from some pretty good players, but boy, we got involved with some really good players. Poindexter, kids of that caliber, consistently. It was, there were about 5 Cornell Brown type players that we had a chance to get because they had visited, but we didn't get them. We lost them. And so we had to go back out on the road. So they got to be careful. They got to make sure that they stick to their philosophy, stick to their, don't get blinded by talent. Go find players that you remember. Great recruiting years, fulfill your needs and people that you want. You get who you want. And now everyone's going to say they've had a great recruiting year and they like their team.
Oh, yeah.
You know that. But when it's all said and done, if when you're coaching at Virginia, keep doing what you're doing. That's what. And if they do that, they'll consistently have a chance to be in the top four of the ACC.
Well, and I know the money that was contributed, they've announced they're going to have more money, just like at Tech, right? They didn't have a big campaign, but people are saying, hey, we got 11 wins. It's the most ever in school history. So they're going to have more money there. And to me, it came down to evaluation, not the amount of players they brought in, but he evaluated. He hit on so many of them.
They got the right ones, right?
Yeah, right.
They got the right ones. I mean, they got kids that, like I said, people can bitch about, oh, they didn't play anybody, or they didn't do this, they didn't do that, they didn't. Hey, what's the final record? They played in an ACC championship game. They're one game away from going into the playoff. And you look at that bowl game, looked like an ACC championship team to me in the bowl game. And ACC's not that good. Who cares? They won it. They were in it. They had a chance. So I think it's be careful. There's a lot of noise at Virginia Tech, and that's a good thing for them. I mean, it's great. It's great. The last 6 years have been so negative for that fan base. It is so positive and good for them, but a lot of noise. And in Virginia, it's very quiet. They don't announce their money. They didn't press conference their increase in their money. They may have said someone contributed, but there wasn't that much noise. So they're very quietly, it's like, okay, they're quietly getting the job done. Virginia Tech's doing it with a lot of noise. You got to be able to back that noise up come next fall.
Yeah, right. Well, it's going to be interesting to watch, and ultimately, I mean, we'll see. People on chat seem to want an Indiana-Miami final. That's what people. That's
statistics, Rick. Yeah, I spent yesterday, not necessarily for the show, but for tonight with Greg. I went and did all the stats of the 5 things that I think are important. Rush attempts and explosives and points per game. Disruptive plays. Indiana has 160 disruptive plays in 14 games. 160. Good Lord. And Oregon's only had 98.
Whew. Is that good, Coach? Wow. Good Lord. That's over 10 a game.
The defense, 160 defense. They had 118 tackles for losses and 42 sacks. Indiana. So Oregon's defense, they had 69 TFLs compared to 118 and 29 sacks compared to 42. So who's got the better front? This is in the Big Ten.
Woo, that's scary, man.
Who's got the better front?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, so if Indiana plays at their best and Oregon plays at their best, Indiana's winning. We're not, now Indiana's got to play. If Indiana plays at their best, they're beating Oregon. Okay. They're 72% on defense on third down efficiency. 7 out of 10, they're winning the third down battles.
That's insane.
And offensively, they're at 56%, and the average is 45. So if they play at their best, they're winning the game.
They're going to win the game. Yeah.
And they've had 26 turnovers. They got the most turnovers going into the tournament. They've had 17 interceptions and 9 fumbles, recoveries. Okay? All right? And offensively, they've only had 1 fumble. They've only had 8 turnovers offensively in 14 games.
That's incredible. In college football, that's unheard of.
No, this is now nobody in the tournament is doing what they're doing. This Miami. They're the next closest with those statistics are so similar. Because Miami, Miami had 25 turnovers for the year. They had 141 defensive disruptive plays. And so they're going to beat Ole Miss. I mean, unless they just absolute play at their worst. Okay? And they go out and play their, all their starters get hurt or get drunk.
Right.
Whatever. If Miami just plays Miami football, goes out, takes care of business, they're winning the game.
There you go. There you go.
And Indiana, you take care of business, you're winning the game because you're better, you're much more productive in 14 games at the things that I really believe that will determine an outcome of a game. If they take care of their business, because it's all about, like bowl games, Rick, it's all about matchups.
Yeah, right.
O-line versus D-line, or O-line versus O-line. Which offensive lines are more productive? Can Oregon's offensive line keep all of a sudden Indiana comes up with no disruptive plays. They don't come up with any turnovers on defense. Well, Oregon's offensive line, all of a sudden, they go see the Wizard, and they're going to play above their what they have been playing. So that's how I look at it. I think the Indiana-Miami would probably be your. If I'm a betting man, I'm betting on that. And I lose it. But
there you go. Yeah, exactly.
But I've seen I got a good chance to win it.
You got a good chance, yeah. Well, Coach, listen, great stuff as always. Always great to start the week off with you.
I appreciate it. Yeah. Thanks for having me on. As always, like I said, like a golden retriever, my old golden retriever, just good to be wanted.
Well, we're going to want you back on before the end of the week. I know, before we get into the weekend. So there you go.
Cool.
There you go.
Well, say hi to Todd for me. Like I said,
I hope it works out for him. He's going to be traveling today. I hope this works. We're going to try to hook up with him here soon. So we'll see.
You take care, Rick. Really enjoyed it.
Coach, you love it, man. We love it. Have a great time with Greg tonight. Tell him I said hello.
We'll do it. Yep.
All right, brother. There you go. Coach Elmassian. That's great stuff, man. Coach Elmo's the best. You learn so much. You just sit there. I'm just sitting there absorbing it. That's the best thing I've heard anyone ever say about these matchups. He's broken down what they do best. If they play their best, they're going to win, instead of trying to look at all these other intangibles. He's saying, nope, this is Indiana's number here. This is Indiana's number there. If they do that, they're going to win, right? The turnover thing blows me away. Wow. I didn't realize that it was that many numbers in their favor, man. Coach Elmo's the best. So good. So good. All right, I'll be right back. This animal's killing me today. All right, I'll be right back. Smoke if you got them. Yeah, everything evolves around the fuzzy. Everything evolves around the fuzzy. All right, good stuff. Yeah, he is an encyclopedia, Coach Elmo. He is. We're going to try to hook up with Todd here in a little bit. He's traveling, so I'm hoping this works. We won't have him on camera, but he wanted to come on. We'll talk about the matchups and everything. I'm going to ask him about all this. And now I really want to ask him about JC. I hope that's all accurate, that he's taken an official job, hanging on at least as an analyst or whatever that's going to entail. Because I know he's been dealing with some health things, so that's great. It's great. Yeah, me too, Prometheus. Well, thank you, TLB. Yeah, the only real reality show when my animal decides to make it Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom. That guy's been active today. He's back in now, though. But I'll tell you one thing. He's being an absolute pain today. But that's okay. Much rather see him active than how he was when he was hurt and unable to do stuff. Right? Thanks to Family Fencing. Appreciate Jason Green. They will work on your fence throughout the winter, getting you ready for spring. Check them out. That's the logo. I think he designed that logo too. It's a great logo. Great logo. McClellan Chiropractic. Mark Hunley, right off of Peppers Ferry Road. Thanks to him. Go get your back popped in all the right directions. Want to thank Professional Door Incorporated and Travis Williams and Company. Thanks, Trav, for all you do. Garage doors better than anybody, 38 years. Another great logo. Look at that. I think Travis designed that. So good. So good. Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment. They sponsor this program on a daily basis. Experience Pulaski County. Thanks so much to them and their ultimate support here. Little River Heating and Air. 1095 Radford Street in Christiansburg, 540-553-2971. Thanks to them. The attorney Ryan Pry, our fan question of the week, 701 West Main Street in Radford. He specializes in trust and estate planning. Thanks to National Bank, by the way. Remember, FDIC, National Bank, has been my banking partner for the last 35 years. They're the exclusive banking partner of this program. But thanks to them for all that they do and all of their support here on the program. I want to thank Lawson's Mobile Home Supply, the NRV Super Bowl. Thanks to Harvey's Gym in Radford, Brad Harvey. And then the Ready Set Fund. On your mark, get set, go. ReadySetFund.com. Now here he comes. Now see, now he's here. All right. You have something if you have something you want to raise, money that you want to raise, well, it should be the Ready Set Fund. And here he is, ladies and gentlemen. The man, the myth, the legend. There he is. Good look at Balboa Creed, looking right at the camera as if he knows he's on camera, 100% healed. Taking over the program today. There you go. There's that guy. Yep. And right here's where he had his boo-boo, and it's completely gone, by the way. Yeah, remember right there? On that left shoulder. Pretty proud of the way that's healed up. You're welcome. There you go. There you go. The guy, Balboa Creed. Dun 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 dun. Okay. All right. Sorry. And thanks to Brandon up at Top Shelf Apparel, screen printing, embroidery, laser engraving. He's the best. 4377 Lee Highway. You need Jim Fowler to let him out. Yeah, I probably do. And if you want a t-shirt, hit me up. They're $20. If I need to ship them, $30. And we still have several of those. We did get rid of several more of them at Christmas time. But hit me up in the McClellan Chiropractic chat room. He wants to race me on the beach like Rocky. Rocky 3. He's very unsettled. Like, it's cold and he wants to be out, and he's out there a while and he realizes there's no critters moving, and that's what he's frustrated at. By the way, Wayne, he loved the treats, man. He's loving the treats. Balboa at the Jim Fowler BDST. Yeah. But great insight from Coach Elmo. And there that's he just answered the question. We have this debate, friendly debate, a lot with the people here about when we see this movement going on in college football. Is it the coach or is it the money? Is it the place? Is it the money? And he just asked the question that sums it up perfectly. If there was no money in place, if there wasn't pay for play, which I'm going to start calling it now, it's no longer NIL. If there wasn't pay for play, who would be transferring? Guys who had a chance to go to a different level to help their NFL stock, or guys who are dropping down a level because they're not playing and they want to play? And what percentage would that look like? A third of all players, Big Al brought it up earlier, 1 out of every 3 football players is moving from the Power Fours. Is that not just incredible? What an incredible number. 33%. Over 4,500 kids in the portal. You think that's because they want a different coach relationship? No. Somebody was asking me how much James Franklin paid for those kids that came from Penn State, the initial kids who left Penn State before the portal. And I guess somewhere between probably $3 to $5 million. I don't think that's unheard of. How many kids was it? Was it like 7 or 8 kids? If you do the math and divide that out, I don't know for sure. Looks like I don't know what they're going to pay Grunkmeyer. We may never know, but I think that's probably the going rate for high school class. People forget you pay for your high school class now too. You're not, in most cases, you're not just recruiting kids. Not all of them are going to want a huge payout, but for the biggest part of it, you're going to be, those guys are going to be those guys are going to be wanting money as well. This isn't just like the old times of recruiting. Not anymore. So yeah. Tough conversations, Paul says. Tough conversations. So we'll see. All right, so we're going to try to hook up with Todd Grantham here. Let him know I just sent. Hopefully this works. Now, he's driving today. So we won't see Todd, as usual, in all of his magnanimous beauty. But we hope to be able to hear him today. All right, let me catch up in chat here. Todd's going to try to connect right now. So hopefully this will work. I'm glad Benji Gosnell didn't enter the portal. We still have Harrison. Well, he's still got time to enter the portal. All right. We're getting 2 guys from Penn State. Well, I don't know how many tight ends you need. Do you need 4 of them? You're going to play maybe 2. And then will guys get frustrated, right? Yeah, it's true, Paul. Yeah. Some tough conversations. You still got time to enter the portal. Portal's open until what? 2 more weeks? Is that right? 2 more weeks? Or is it the 12th? No, it opened on the 2nd. It's the 15th. I don't know. Who the hell knows? It's 2 weeks. You're going to see guys coming and going every week for Virginia Tech and everywhere else. But we don't pay attention to it at all these other places. We just, as the dust settles, we'll find out. I'll be curious to see if we have another Texas Tech type of situation where they're out saying, you know what, we're going to bring in 30 guys. They're all going to start, or at least, 20 some of them are going to start. We got $30+ million. We're going to spend it. We will see what happens with that. The Todd's going to try to hook up. Now, I don't know if this will work when he's in his car. Uh-oh. Says Mike denied. I don't think he can call. No, man, I don't think it's going to work. Yeah, I knew it was going to be difficult when he was traveling. Yeah. He's going to try something else. Yeah, the phone option on this studio is very expensive. Very expensive. So I haven't done that to have just an audio only thing. You can do that, but you really have to pay for it. So, and then you have to get phone people involved, phone companies involved. It becomes very complicated. So, yeah. Thomas in the chat, as we're trying to see if Todd can jump on with us, says, I'm sorry, on our text line says, hasn't Virginia Tech already signed or already announced 2 defensive back coaches? I saw somebody in chat saying they were trying to get another one, ? Yeah. Isn't Anthony Midget now official too? Vic Hall, right? Somebody let me know, right? They announced Vic Hall. Didn't Anthony Midget, isn't he on staff now too? Didn't he decide to come? Somebody told me that over the weekend. And now they're looking at another defensive back coach? I don't know the answer. I'm just asking the question to help out Thomas here on chat in our text line. Did Tech announce Midget too? So they already have 2? So they have Midget and Vic Hall. Okay. So they do. They already have 2. So I don't know. I don't know how that's going to look. Don't know how that's going to look. So they brought in 2 cornerbacks coaches, and they're going to have they need a safeties coach. So both those guys are going to help with corners. Okay. Well, yeah, it is, but I don't think it's going to work out with Todd. Okay. Yeah. I'm going to tell them safe travels. So, Coach Elbow says, another defensive backs coach? Heck, I should apply. So no Todd today. We're going to try maybe tomorrow. He is driving. I'm not sure if he's going to Birmingham right now. We'll find out. I knew when he said he was going to be in the car, it might be hard to keep that going. So that's okay. We'll finish it off with us today. So there you go, Thomas. People in chat saying he's specifically going to be the safeties coach. One more guy. So Morris will have Todd hopefully tomorrow. There is a phone option, but it is very, very expensive. Morris says, no, Todd, I'm going back to bed. Coach Almo as an advisor, only if he pulls the bikey shorts back out. The old coach's bikey shorts. You knew you were dealing with a serious football coach when they had on those bike shorts or whatever it was. I don't know if it was bikey or bike or however they pronounced it. But every coach made them look stylish. Didn't they? It was the collared shirt. Later on, it was a T-shirt. But you had the bike shorts. Was it bike or bikey? Like Nike? I don't know. That or Wilson. Yeah, Wilson, true. Yeah, the Wilson shorts. Man, Wilson apparel was huge back in the day. Russell Athletic, yep, absolutely. Stuff was gigantic, man. Champion was big, too. Champion's still around. Bike, like ride a bike. Okay. It wasn't bikey. It was bike. Remember them? Oh, of course, we remember them. You did not play high school sports in the 80s and 90s without knowing what bike shorts were. And I'm not. They said if Michigan guy comes, he would be the co-defensive coordinator. Oh, here we go again. I did have a neck roll. Yes, I did. But I kept my neck roll underneath my my jersey. I didn't let it hang out. I did. TP says nobody had the legs for them like Coach Hicks. Just ask my mom and grandmother. They love some Coach Hicks. It's because he ran 10 miles every morning. Yeah, he did have the legs for it. So my story with Coach Hicks and running, when I started full-time at Radford, I saw he always ran at Deadman, around Radford. Heck, he probably ran the entire city of Radford. And he had his running group. And I remember that's when I was running, and I was trying to stay as the best shape that I could. I could run 4 miles or so. And he was like, Rick, you should join us one morning. You should come on out with us. We come right by here. Nothing going on in the summer. You can come out. And I said, yeah, I'm going to do that, Coach. So I called him and I said, you guys going to be around today? He goes, yeah, we'll be down at Bissett. Come on down. And I did. And you could not keep. I was a pace that I wasn't ready for. He just kept going and going in his group. And I was, of course, dead last. So he finally come back to Radford. I don't know what it was. It was like 6 or 7 miles. And I was like, yeah, I better get back to work, Coach. But the whole time I think I went back into the Deadman Center. I just laid there on the ground. Never made that mistake again. Joseph says, so how is a good high school recruit going to make it onto a Power 4 college roster with most spots transferred? Well, they come in for money. You're making agreements with them. They will redshirt. Maybe they contribute. I don't know. If a kid, though, can contribute as a freshman, they're going to contribute. You're seeing more freshmen play because of the money they're getting. And it just comes down to whatever's negotiated. But I've had college basketball. Let me just put it this way. And this is not even talking directly to football coaches. I have a pretty good relationship with every basketball coach in the Big South. And they all tell me that when they're just going out looking for high school kids, and this is before what they have to do now by paying anyone to come. When all this got started, they had high school kids that were asking for $250,000, $100,000. High school kids. And this is at mid-major Big South basketball level. Imagine what it's like big boy college basketball level and what we're talking about now with football. It's crazy. It's crazy. And of course, many of the teams in the Big South just say we don't have $100,000 to give a high school kid. We may have just that much money in our total NIL budget. So yeah, it's a mess, man. And as Coach Elmo said, right now it's sustainable because the power brokers are winning, the Big Ten and the SEC. That's why it makes me so happy to see the ACC, Miami, what they've done. But Miami's kind of on a different island too, with their amount of money that they can pay for pay for play. So NIL just needs to be replaced with PFP. Let's stop with NIL and call it PFP. Let's just call it what it is. Yes, I do, Morris. You and I can talk. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. For those of you who might be interested in sponsoring the show, there are different tiers and different proposals. Yes, anything to fit. I just tell everybody to fit your budget. It's been great since we turned over the new year, and some people have asked, so let's hopefully we can add some more. Because I would like to add functions like, okay, if my guest can't be here today, I'd like to be able to say, let's get them via phone call. But right now it's not cost effective for me to add that feature. Thank you so much, Trav. All the folks at Professional Door sponsor our text line. Couldn't do it without you, brother. All the wonderful sponsors that we have that I mention all the time, because everybody that supports this show is so good at what they do. So good at what they do. And it's great. And Travis is amongst the best. His dad started that business 38 years ago, and now it's national. They had to reach out for more work. I mean, it's awesome. Thank you, Trav. Show number 100. Yeah. We're going to reschedule Todd. He can't. He hate that he couldn't be on it. But again, it's just not going to work until I can afford it. It's not going to work. It's all right. We'll make it worth whoever's while. Morris, we'll hook up. Wayne says he wants to sponsor Creed's appearances. Did you see him looking at the camera when he jumped up here? He knows where the camera is. Kind of had that old look that Mean Joe Green used to get, didn't he? He wants to be out there raising havoc on nature, but he can't because it's cold. And not because it's too cold for him, because he realizes, nobody's out. I might as well go take a nap until noon. But it was interesting what Coach Elmo said about it. And I think he's right. And I say this without any kind of ill will or any kind of anything toward the guys who are playing basketball at Radford. I mean, we had an NL opportunity with the hiring of Coach Chu that we've never had before, and he went out and used that accordingly. Mike Young finally got some NIL money at Tech, and look at the roster he's put together. That's what the movers and shakers are doing. They have the money to spend. And you know the ones who strictly did it for money, if you looked all weekend at some of these quarterbacks. Remember we speculated, what was it, 30 or so, 30 or 35 starting quarterbacks went in the portal. The Sorby kid who just went to Texas Tech. Yeah, there you go. On cue, Texas Tech. Texas Tech, man. Old Texas Tech, man. So tell me, is it real? Is he really getting $6 million? Is that what Sorsby's getting? And the 247 number one quarterback. $6 million? Is that right? Let me know, old Texas Tech man. By the way, congratulations on the Red Raiders season. By the way, I'm not one to criticize what you guys did. I mean, I appreciate Texas Tech had transparency. And correct me if I'm wrong, old Red Raider. They came right out and said, look, we're going to go out and we're going to get players. We got the money to do it. And sure enough, it got you all the way to the quarterfinals, the playoff. A place that maybe Texas Tech football never would have been, but people stepped up and gave them the money to go out and acquire players. Let's just call it the way it is. All I'm saying is, if that's the current landscape we're going to live in, you might as well be transparent about it. And kudos to your Red Raiders. They were. And they will be again. Right? So, yeah. We need a segment called Rick's Rants. Starts with black jerseys. Oh. I'll never understand it. It used to be covered up with the whole recruiting thing. No. Recruits only care about green. $5 million plus we put Kiffin in his locker. I've been on that campus once, by the way, down in Lubbock. Beautiful. Texas Tech. Beautiful campus. Heck, UNLV, they were doing that system long before, yeah. Remember the hot tub photo of the UNLV team? Remember that? They were actually in the hot tub with the guy who was giving them the money and cigars. Yeah, a lot of the NFL teams, Matthew, wore throwbacks. Imagine that. Broncos yesterday. Chargers went back to kind of a throwback look years ago. The Jets. By the way, the Falcons fired everybody. Did you see that? Wayne says he likes the Looney Tunes mascot at Texas Tech. What's his name? Yeah, the Texans yesterday wore a bunch of crap too. You don't have to worry about it, Prometheus. Al Davis designed the Raiders. The Raiders were not silver and black in the first 2 years of their existence. They were black and kind of a gold. And Al Davis took over, such an integral figure throughout the AFL. And if you ever see, you can find it. If you go to YouTube and find NFL films, Al Davis talking about the silver and black and that pirate logo. He had all that in his head. The Raiders, they're, of course, big rivals from my Broncos. The most perfect uniform, the most perfect logo, in my opinion, in the entire NFL. And there's a lot of good ones. But the Raiders don't need to ever do anything. They're already wearing black. Leave the silver helmet alone. Leave the silver pant alone, the silver numbers. And you know what? Back in the day, early on, when the Raiders made that change, I loved the white jersey with the silver number with the black trim. That is, ugh. Now, the black number's fine. The autumn wind is a pirate. And it's also the best of all the NFL themes. It's a shame I can't play them without, of course, violating copyright laws. The Raiders never, if you're a Raiders fan, that's the one thing you don't have to worry. You have the best uniform already. I mean, the Buccaneers tried to copy your pirate. I mean, they did. They came right out and talked about it when they started marketing back in 1975 into the 76 season. They looked at the Raiders logo when they wear the creamsicle, right? I think he even has a patch, right? The Buccaneer, he has a patch. I'm not sure, but it feels like if I could go back and look it up, they had to pay the Raiders licensing money. But no, you don't have to worry about that part of it. And now you're going to have Mendoza. Ugh. You know, I haven't played that in a while, Wayne. So the Raiders are going to get the Mendoza kid. There's the number 1 draft pick.
Oh my. Oh, no. Oh, no. That was out of nowhere.
Really out of nowhere because they were bad all year. Hey, David, what's going on, David? I got to get David back on. I can get all you guys back on. That's one thing I'm going to do coming up. Wish the Patriots would go back. Yes, they need to go back to the red jersey, pat the Patriot, the center on the helmet, the white helmet. Beautiful uniform. All the throwbacks are better. The Eagles, why are the Eagles wearing black? Looks so stupid. Oh, you're going to win. You're going to win now, unfortunately, Prometheus, when that kid takes over your program. If you hire the right coach, you're going to have a nice new young coach pair with him. But the Raiders have an opportunity right now. I'm not worried about Mendoza being a bust at all. He's going to be a superstar. And you got him. It's true, Wayne. Yeah, that's a good one. Kurt Signetti, I was told he was too old. He's only been at James Madison now. He's 23-2 at Indiana, and they're playing in the national semifinal. What?
Oh my. Oh, no. Oh, no. That was out of nowhere.
There we go. That was a good one. Hey, you go to College Station, make sure you wear a face mask. I have never been to College Station, but I loved your campus in Lubbock, Texas Tech, man. There are a lot of reasons to like that campus. You know what I'm saying? Joseph says, I loved all the old nicknames like the Snake, the Mad Stork. That's my best Raider story, going out with Ted Hendricks in 2004 at the John Elway Hall of Fame induction with Ted Hendricks, the Mad Stork. I wish I could get those liners put on the show. I need to figure out how to transfer that over. The Juice. I know. O.J. Simpson, but that was a great, great nickname. Morris is going to take Miami to beat Indiana Miami to beat Indiana in the college football championship. Really? Plus 500? Huh? There you go. There you go. Why not? Why not? So I put up, let me see here. By the way, please subscribe, like the channels. Spread the word. Texas Tech, man, we'd love to have a lot of folks from Lubbock subscribe. We have to hit 1,000 subscribers. We're at 7. Where are we right now? Let me see. Let me get an exact number right now. $773. We need to get to 1,000 here soon. Did you notice the masked rider and horseback of... No, I can't say I remember that. So it's Faces College Station. That was a quick blow through. We were down there Radford basketball years ago, and we had a few hours, so we went through Texas Tech. We didn't play Texas Tech, but we were down there. Jack Youngblood playing with the broken leg, yeah, against the Cowboys, NFC Championship game. He was one of the members too. If you remember the old liner, he messed up the liner, and I just left it running. Jack Youngblood here. Then he said something. He goes, no, we're not. Take two. It was Jack Youngblood. Let's see. My goodness. It was Jack Youngblood. Tell me this isn't a group. It was Jack Youngblood, Ted Hendricks, Paul Warfield, Larry Zonka, Gail Sayers, Mel Renfro, and it may have been Nick Bonicani. I can't remember. It was unbelievable. And we were down there, and they did it a different way. Of course, we'd put in, this is when the first show was going on. We'd been on about 3 years. We'd broken the news about Tech going to the ACC, so we'd kind of hit. And we got creds, and we were out there, press row. Here come all the Hall of Famers, and they just come down, and they're just sitting there with their cigars. The guys who are already in, it's their alumni weekend, if you will. Interviewed all his guys, and I'll just never forget, it was actually Ted Hendricks, Prometheus. Hey, Blacksburg. Called us Blacksburg because we had, I don't know what the station's call letters were at the time, WFNR, whatever it was. It said Blacksburg, Virginia on our nameplate. Big Dog Sports Talk. We're going to head out down here. You guys want to hang out? And I'm sitting there with Brian Brubaker, my producer. Yeah. Nah, I'm sorry, Hall of Famers. We don't want to go out with you. Of course, that wasn't going to be the answer. A once-in-a-lifetime experience that'll never happen. And then, fortunately, I got to meet that guy a couple of years ago. Randy Gradishar, the reason that I started pulling for the Denver Broncos and the reason I wanted to play Mike linebacker. Todd Grantham wore number 53 too, by the way, for Joel Hicks, Pulaski County Cougars. Philip said, God rest his soul. You're a Cougar. I'm a Cougar. What were your thoughts on Kevin Krause? Yeah, it was sad that he's not. Kevin Krause is the best. Kevin Krause is the best running back, in my opinion, in the history of Pulaski County football. TP, you still with me? Kevin Krause was on a different plane of existence as a running back. I was fortunate to be on the radio call with Dan for many of his games. Number 2, if I'm not mistaken, God rest his soul, left us way, way too early. Kevin Krause is the greatest running man. And we've had, Eric Webb, but Eric Webb was a better defensive player. Kevin Krause is the greatest running back to ever play at Pulaski County High School. Yeah. He's the greatest I've ever seen. All right, TP says no doubt. There we go. Number 2, right? Kevin was number 2. Great kid, too. I hate that he was dealing with so many things. And when I heard about his passing, it really shook me up. Yeah. Great kid. Unbelievable player. Just unbelievable football player. But in any event, good stuff today. We'll reschedule Todd maybe for tomorrow. We've got a lot going on a Tuesday show. We'll try to see what we can work out. Again, he's driving. I think he's going to Birmingham. I think the move is in process. And we're going to get all the background about why he chose UAB. And I know why, but it's really cool when you hear it and why he did it and what he hopes to build. And this is a guy, again, who's been in the NFL multiple years. He's been in the SEC at multiple stops, the Big 10, the Big 12, coached for Nick Saban at 2 different places. But he really has an affinity for Coach Mortensen and what they're trying to build. And he wants to just kind of help get that program going. And his last stop, as he told me, this is it. I'm not looking for massive money. He's got his money. You're not looking to go out and stroke his ego back in the NFL or to have to go to a power school, which he could have done both. He just wants to finish up at a place he wants to be. As he said, he wants to be happy. He wants to have a good time creating something. And in this day of college athletics, I really commend that. It's hard to find a place that you feel like you can be that guy. So I'm happy for him, and he'll tell his story better than I will. So that's good. Please, everybody, put the word out about the show. Subscribe, like, and share. We got to hit 1,000. And word of mouth can get people there. Great to have Texas Tech man chiming in. Mike Leach, the Pirate. God, we miss Mike Leach. Imagine the comments he'd be making about college football today. By the way, Mike Leach on the show 4 different times. On the radio show, the last time he was on the show was before he passed. Yeah, right before he passed. Back on the old radio show. But everybody have a good start back to the work week, right? To the grind we go. Thanks to all of our sponsors once again. Thanks to everybody. Hey, 100 shows. Thank you. Today was number 100. We hit the century mark. Hard to believe. We start what I hope is the next 100 starting tomorrow on the Tuesday edition. Take care, everybody. Thank you as always. Spread the word. Thanks, Coach Elmassian. Thanks, Coach Grantham. We'll see you tomorrow, everybody.